Welcome to the end of an era. The year 1947 marked a pivotal moment in global history, particularly for the Indian subcontinent. After nearly 200 years of British colonial rule, the winds of change were blowing. The British Raj, which had stood as a pillar of imperial power, was about to crumble, setting the stage for the birth of two new nations, India and Pakistan. This monumental change didn't occur overnight. It was the culmination of decades of struggle, political maneuverings, and transformative ideologies that reshaped not only the region, but also the whole structure of colonial power worldwide. Understanding this critical juncture in history requires a deep dive into the multifaceted forces at play, from intense political movements and economic pressures to the profound impacts of global warfare and moral debates. The departure of the British from India was more than a mere transfer of power. It was a dramatic reconfiguration of political, social, and economic systems. The end of the Raj opened up a range of challenges and opportunities for the newly formed nations, setting a precedent for decolonization that would echo around the world. As we explore this complex period, we will uncover the layers of influence and change that led to this significant transformation. The fight for Indian independence was a long and arduous journey, marked by the sweat and perseverance of countless individuals. Key figures such as Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Subhas Chandra Bose became iconic leaders who galvanized masses with visions of freedom and self-rule. Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance particularly resonated, creating a powerful tool against the imperial rule. Public pressure for independence was not just a reaction to colonial oppression, it was also a constructive movement aimed at envisioning a new society. Mass movements, civil disobedience, and nationwide protests became the norm, as more and more Indians rallied for their right to self-governance. This groundswell of support was crucial in making the Indian struggle for independence a mass movement that could not be ignored. The visible participation of diverse groups, including women, students, and workers, underscored the inclusive nature of the independence movements. These movements transcended social and economic barriers, uniting people across the vast subcontinent with a common goal of ending British rule. The growing unrest and the unyielding demand for freedom were clear indicators that the days of the British Raj were numbered. World War II was a devastating global conflict that drained resources, claimed lives, and weakened colonial powers, including Britain. The British Empire, stretched to its limits, relied heavily on its colonies, including India, for troops, resources, and support. This overextension highlighted the vulnerability and the declining power of the British on the global stage. The economic toll of the war on Britain was immense. With resources depleted and the national debt soaring, maintaining control over distant colonies became increasingly untenable. The financial strain was a critical factor that led British policymakers to reconsider their global strategy, including their grip on India, which was becoming costly and difficult to manage. Moreover, the participation of Indian soldiers in the war effort stirred a strong sense of nationalism and a demand for reward in the form of political freedom. The contradiction of fighting for democracy abroad while being denied it at home was not lost on Indian troops and the general public. This irony fueled the fire of independence and made the British position in India morally and practically indefensible. The demand for a separate Muslim homeland led to the creation of Pakistan, a decision that was fraught with dire consequences. The proposal, championed by leaders like Muhammad Ali Jinnah of the Muslim League, stemmed from fears that an independent India would be dominated by Hindus, sidelining Muslims. This led to the divisive and painful process of partition. The partition of India in 1947 was accompanied by one of the largest mass migrations in human history, as millions of Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs crossed newly drawn borders. This migration was marked by horrific violence, loss of life, and a deep-seated animosity that would shape intercommunal relations in the region for decades to come. The scars of partition remain embedded in the collective memory of both nations. Economically and socially, the partition was a catastrophe. It disrupted agricultural and economic systems, divided families, and destroyed communities. The immediate aftermath saw both India and Pakistan struggling to cope with the refugee crisis and the economic disruptions. The legacy of partition continues to influence the political and social climate of the subcontinent. The mid-20th century was a time of significant change in global politics, marked by a growing distaste for colonialism and an increase in support for self-determination. The United Nations, established in the aftermath of World War II, provided a platform for colonized nations to voice their demands for independence. International opinion was turning against colonialism, influencing Britain's decision to withdraw from India. Economic considerations also played a crucial role. Post-war Britain was economically weakened and needed to prioritize rebuilding its own economy over maintaining expensive colonies. The economic impracticality of sustaining the Raj, coupled with the moral imperative to end colonial rule, created a compelling case for British withdrawal. Moreover, the moral debates surrounding colonialism had reached the British public and political arenas. Intellectuals, politicians, and citizens grappled with the ethics of ruling over another people. This moral introspection, combined with the practical realities of a changing world, pushed Britain towards granting independence to India. The British exit from India in 1947 was a complex event, influenced by a myriad of factors, including the force of independence movements, the impact of global conflicts, and shifting moral and economic landscapes. This departure not only reshaped the map of South Asia, but also set a precedent for the end of colonialism worldwide. The legacy of British rule and the manner of its end continue to influence India and Pakistan in profound ways. The end of the Raj opened up opportunities for self-governance, but also left challenges such as communal strife, economic restructuring, and regional conflicts. The creation of two separate nations, India and Pakistan, from a land that shared centuries of intertwined histories, has led to ongoing tensions, but also remarkable progress in various fields. As we reflect on the events of 1947, it is essential to understand the diverse and complex forces that drove the British out of India. The story of independence is not just about the end of colonial rule, but also about the birth of nations that continue to develop their identity and place in the world. The history of the British exit is a testament to the resilience and determination of the people who fought for their right to self-determination and the ongoing journey of nation building.